I figured I would do videos like, I don't know, once every couple of weeks or whatever. It's been a while in terms of what I was doing and what I'm doing now for one of these. But I felt like today was such an interesting day, if that's the word I want to use. Emotionally, I was tore up. But like with anything, I get to choose how long that's going to last. I get to choose how long I'm going to, word vomit. And I get to choose how I want to feel. If I've learned this practice over time that if I really don't like feeling a certain way, I need to express it. Whether I write it down or, well, writing it down is good. I actually journaled today, and I was able to, acknowledge how am I feeling, why am I feeling, what am I feeling, and do I want to continue feeling this way? I asked myself those questions. It really helped me. It really helped me because I was able to identify how I was feeling, and what caused this feeling, and what did it start with? It started with sadness, and how did that start? And then it turned into anger, and then the anger turned into bad behaviors. Bad behaviors. And I've set out on this journey to not do bad behaviors anymore. And I'm never going to not do bad behaviors. I'm always going to fall into a category of like, I did this wrong or I did that wrong. But as long as I don't sit here and say, damn, how did I let it get this far? Or how did I get this to this point? Because there's still that faith of like everything happens exactly the way it was intended. Even though a lot of the times when I'm saying that, it's because I didn't like some shit that went down. There's a lot of good things that happened today. I had a couple cups filled at work. Those are metaphors, by the way. I had a spiritual cup filled, one of my coworkers, and then I was able to vent, and I was able to share how I felt, and I was able to be listened to and validated. And then I got a hug. And when I'm stressed, sometimes I just need that. That just really helps. And outside of the recovery, like the madness of recovery, like, hey man, your feelings matter, and and it's gonna be okay. Like just that small gesture can sometimes fill a cup. And I'm grateful for the friends that I have, not just in recovery, but outside of recovery. I say sometimes that I'm always going to have friends that are addicts. Either they're ones that use or ones that don't use. But that's not true at all. I've got friends that aren't addicts, that care about me, that see me struggling, that can pull me aside and say, hey, grab your vape, let's roll. And then I've got other friends that, bosses that can see me. And, today I was so obsessed. And one of my bosses said, man, I really hate seeing you like this. And I was like, man, I'm fine. And he's like, no, you're not. He's like, I can always tell when you're not fine, and you're not fine. And I love that he was able to say that. He's like, I love how you've been, and you're not fine today, man. And he's like, I can just see it. He's like, do me a favor, just put your phone down for a little bit. Let's have fun. He's like, let's just have fun. Because I love my job. And I needed to hear that, because if I didn't hear that, I probably wouldn't have been able to have the day I did, which was good. I needed that more than anything. It's like, do I struggle with something and just keep obsessing, or do I pay my bills? And my kids and my, rely on me to not be like, hey guys, I'm sorry I missed my bonus. I'm not going to be able to buy, Halloween costumes. No, today took care of that. I don't have to stress over that. I'd been so mad at myself if I went home and I didn't focus on really what was important while I'm at work. But ultimately, I am grateful that I can see all this. And I feel so much better than I did earlier today. Because I did not feel good earlier today. I was sad, I wanted to cry, I was upset, like all these things. I wasn't feeling valued, I didn't feel understood, I felt blamed. And my self-worth was like, not quite where it needs to be, where I've worked so hard for it to be. And so I was able to fill a couple cups. And then I posted a TikTok, which really helped me because I was struggling. And I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he was like, man, it's good that you do that. Like, I can see like the change in you when you do it, and then you come back in here and, dude. And so, like, you know, like, not like I wrote in my phone, maybe I should just go ghost mode. I don't even know what that looks like. I don't even know what that sounds like. Like, am I the guy that goes ghost mode? I don't think so. It sounds amazing, you know, like, just shut the fuck up and go to work and don't say anything to nobody and don't text anybody and just fucking put in that work, you know. I understood why it's important for me to do that, and that's because of some of the things that I do, like the attention and, you know, all these things that I think I need. I don't get positive attention by these videos. Like, I don't have anybody coming over to me saying, hey man, it really helped me out. I get more people telling me that, you know, negative things about it. And I'm not going to stop. You know, I don't need to hear. I'm going to hear these things, and I don't need to own them. It's helping me. So getting this out helps me on the way to a meeting, which I need to fill that cup too. I lost sight of, like, you know, if I put as much stock into people as I did God, I wouldn't feel so stressed out. I put more stock into people. Maybe because I can see them. Maybe because I can hear them. Maybe because I value them so much. And the people I value the most sometimes are the ones that I'm feeling the most discomfort with. Yeah, and maybe it's just this need for people to like me. When in reality, like, there's a lot of people who don't like me. I don't need to turn them over to like me. I don't need that. I don't need, like, that mask has been thrown out. I don't need it. Yet I feel this want. And this psalm in the Bible, Psalm 23, if you're watching this and you're not religious, you don't have to look that up. That's my higher power. It basically talks about, you know, I shall not want. That's an interesting concept. Because everything that I struggle with in life is the things that I want, not the things that I need. Because when it comes down to the things that I need, time and time again, it's been provided. Like, and if we really get down to the basics, what do I need? Shelter, food, warmth. I need my car to work. I need bills to be paid. Those things are happening. They're happening. And when I'm stressed out, don't think they're going to happen, God finds a way to provide. And it's provided. And I know that. Like, I trust in that. Yet, my stock isn't in that. It's in other things. You know? And so, having a nice, long conversation with one of my coworkers who tends to fill my spiritual cup, it was very good to have that. I feel like my higher power worked that way. Brought him to me. We sat down and we talked. And he's really good at quoting things out of the Bible and stuff. And giving me, like, these stories that happened to these people in that. And giving me perspective over, like, you know, even if somebody, like, so if somebody were to come up to me, for those of you who don't believe this, if you're struggling with somebody, like, this happens all the time. Like, I heard this story about a guy and a son, and the guy tears up the piece of paper and tells the son, you know, fix the world, because it's a picture of the world. The son flips over the pieces and puts it back together in like 5 minutes, and then gives it to his father, and his father says, man, how'd you do that? And he said, well, I flipped the pieces over. It was a man fixed himself, fixed the man, and the world fixed itself. So I've heard that story. Or the guy that has the farm, and he loses the horses, and, you know, it's the maybe story, right? I don't even think that those stories actually happen. I think they're just good stories to help motivate people to feel better. So, in a sense, what I'm getting at is, when somebody comes up to me and tells me a story about a guy who, you know, was struggling with his people dying, and he was asked, you know, well, stop killing him if you do this. And hearing that story, why discount that as well? You know, I needed to hear it. I needed to hear it because it's stories that we hear from other people, whether it's their own story or about other people who have overcome things and have gotten through tough times, to motivate us, to have us believe that we can also do the same. There were times that I prayed that I wouldn't get loaded anymore, and I got loaded. And now I don't have to pray for that. I don't have to sit here every morning and pray that today's not going to be the day. Today's going to be the day. Today's going to be day one. I don't have to pray for that anymore. Like, that's happening. It's happened. It happened for, you know, over a year now. And I don't have to pray that, like, I don't have heartburn anymore. I don't have to pray that, like, I'm, you know, like, if I could just get back in the gym. Like, I don't have to pray for those things anymore. They just happen. Like, I don't have to beat myself up about those things anymore. The things that I struggle with now have a lot to do with my own will. And they have a lot to do with putting stock in people. And it's not to say, like, don't put stock in people. I should. You know, meeting people, that's a risk. Putting people in your life and falling, you know, having these falling feelings for them or whatever, that's a risk. The risk doesn't always pan out. You know, it's always good in the beginning too. You know, when you're getting to know somebody and you're sharing your story with them and they're listening, then all of a sudden one day they're like, I keep hearing this shit over and over again. It's like, man, okay. You know, like, it's the people that stay in our lives, that remain in our lives, no matter what, unconditionally, that are the ones that will not just be a season. You know, I say this phrase that people are seasonal. Not everybody is, but there's a lot of people that are seasonal. They were meant to come for but a time, and then they're gone. And because of that, you know, we get to learn. I heard somebody once say that some people will come into our lives to show us how we know how to look, to show us that we can love, and we'll go into their lives to show them how to set boundaries. You know, and that's stuck with me for a long time, because I may come into somebody's life to teach them about how to set boundaries. And somebody may come into my life to show me that I know how to love. And love is an action. It's not a feeling. I'm always going to let people down if they have high expectations of me. And people are always going to let me down if I have high expectations of them. And that's not to say I want to have low expectations of everybody. It's just to look at people and say, how do I want to be treated? And then give people that. And if that doesn't work out, or it doesn't gel out quite the right way, then I'll readjust. And it'll be, you know, like, I'll learn from that. We learn from things. We learn from jobs and experiences and people. And I can get to a point where I'm psychotic and I'm seeing things that people make fun of. Say they need a good laugh, when I'm literally struggling about it. And that teaches me that where I stand in that situation, or those situations. It's not the first time I've heard that, and it probably won't be the last. But it's something that used to drive me to, like, a place of where I'd be gone for, I get loaded over that. I've gotten loaded over that statement. And today, I don't even feel triggered to use. So I'm like I'm light years ahead of where I was. Light years. But for some people, that may seem like I'm so far behind where I need to be. But I love the phrase that I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm exactly who I need to be right now. That way I don't have to sit back and wonder if should I be here, or how come I'm not this far along, or I should be so much further along. I can sit here and say at my age, I should have so much more. And I can sit in the dark pit of, desperation. And I'm speaking in experience of living in that. Or I can say I'm exactly where I need to be, and everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to be. And even though I'm not where I'm going to be, I'm comfortably where I'm at. And even though today wasn't the most comfortable day for me, it was a good day for me, because it gave me the ability to grow. And it also gave me the ability to practice all these things that I've been working on. And so I feel so much better than I did. I mean, I didn't like how I was, and I didn't like how I felt, and I didn't like how I acted, but I did. Can't take that back. But what I can do is give grace to myself for not letting it go for a lot longer than it used to. And to being able to find gratitude near the end of the day of it, shit, man, that's never happened. If I look at myself individually, I can say that, like, I've never been in a place my whole life where I could go through the day I went through today and say that at the end of the day I had gratitude, genuinely. And for that, I am grateful for recovery. I'm grateful for my program, and I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful for my higher power, because my higher power gives me the ability to go through these things, work through them, grow through them, and then give thanks to them. And I couldn't do that when I was getting loaded. I couldn't do that after I got loaded. There's so many times I drove home on a Tuesday night just crying inside because I thought I was being recorded. And today, I can't remember the last time, even though I know when it was. I don't like to remember it, but it's there. And I got to go to work today, finish off the month strong, go through the stuff I went through, and then grow through the stuff I went through, so I don't have to be shitty anymore. And I don't have to feel shitty anymore. For that, well, I must be on the right track. And so if you're like struggling with stuff and you're not quite sure why things keep happening, well, usually they're because we caused them, but they're supposed to happen. They develop us. They help us become who we're gonna be. I was so worried that somebody didn't make it, and then, like, I really was the other day. I was talking to somebody about it, and I was like, man, I don't think they made it, and I'm sad about it. And then I looked at it gave me a recap on some of my subscribers, and I saw that they chimed in, and I was like, thank you. Like, I don't need to hear anybody tell me that they've talked to this person. I just need to know that they're still alive. I got to see that, and it made me happy, because that's all I really care about, is that they're alive. There's just so many people dying, and it's fucked up. And so I'm grateful that I got to see that. It's God's way of letting me know that, hey man, this person's okay. They may not be great, but they're alive. And so I'm grateful for that too. And that's all I got. 20-minute rant. It's been a minute. Peace.